mostly in America and Japan, opposed to power usually found across Europe and Australia. So we'll see these guys have a little bit less reaction time than your general kind of power console, but very high quality players. So we'll see how they handle the NTSC frame rate.
Yeah, they might be just a little bit sloppier than what they are used to on PAL, purely because they probably just don't play it as much as opposed to PAL. Don't think Jaden really had played much time trials on NTSC at all coming into this, so but still a pretty reasonable player on PAL for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So for those of you that may not have seen other matches in the One Tries tournament, there is 3 sets to win the match, and a player will need to win 4 tracks in order to win a set. So 4 tracks wins a set, and 3 sets will win the match.
Just wondering if we can try and get them synced. It's pretty hard to tell right now who's actually in the lead, because they are a couple of seconds out of sync, so not too many big mistakes. I know Zoki didn't get the Tran where he sticks to the track at the beginning of the race, and Jaden got a slightly better one, so maybe I would say Jaden just got a slight advantage, but it's too close to tell. We won't really tell until their first lap is completed. We get the times.
Yeah, very close one, and the longest track in Mario Kart 64 Rainbow Road, so you will see both players doing a lot of mini turbos. Mini turbos, for anyone not too familiar with the game, essentially is a speed boost, which is created when the smoke at the back of the kart goes from to white to yellow to orange, and you'll see them do that all across the turns and as quickly as possible.
And we see Zoran coming in with 1:39, I think I saw, 73, and Jaden had a 39, so he takes about a 0.3. Jaden takes a 0.3 lead just in the first lap. So it's about what that Tran that cost Zoki at the start was just about. So
yeah, not much in this at all at the moment.
So apologies to the people watching. There's not a lot of excitement with this track being so long. And generally these guys are such high caliber players. You don't see too many really bad mistakes that we're going to see. So especially on this track for sure.
Yeah, I think the main risk for this particular track would just be around the chain chomps, which circle around different parts of the track. They are on cycles, so these players, assuming that they don't make any major mistakes, should know what pace they're on in regards to being able to avoid those chain chomps. But they can pop up sometimes if you do find yourself out of your normal kind of pace that you're used to. So hopefully we don't see any chain chomps hits here, but that's probably the main kind of variance component to this track.
Yeah, you see Jaden just sort of having to correct himself and do some hops around the chain chomps the last 2. Probably just being on a different pace, and we'll see Zoki come in with a 1:39.46 and a 1:39.72, so they're probably bang on even after their first lap, so they're pretty much even. So it'll come down to this last lap. So probably just who's going to make. You can see how well synced they are now with their mini turbos.
Yeah, this is really close.
Yeah, it'll just come down to whoever makes the fewest mistakes now, I guess. Oh, such good synchronization. Really nice to see. Maybe just Zoki, maybe. Ooh, Jaden just hitting the wall, so that'll cost me.
Clipping the fence a little bit there. Did miss an MT, I think. This shroom will be really important here. So both players with 1 shroom left, and they're going to use it coming up this hill coming up right now.
I think Jaden's just had a handful of wall bonks in this last lap, so I'm thinking Zoki's probably just ahead right now. There's another one you see from him, so...
All right, the final stretch. So they're going to come up this hill, and they're going to be looking for clean MTs to finish here. This is going to be a very close race.
Mm.
They're
Zoki
coming
just last
in.
second bomb.
Wow, and Zoki snatches it 4:58.41 to a 4:58.66. For Rainbow Road, that is insanely close.
Yeah, and you see just how close their first 2 laps were. They were pretty much flipped. And then Zoki just with a slightly better lap 3, just that 2/10, which was the win in the end. So. Okay, 1 down for Zoki. I'm pretty on the left, isn't he? Yep. Cool.
Yeah, really consistent driving there from both players, all in the 139s, and it just does show the high caliber of this race of these top players as well. Very little errors, and sometimes just missing a couple of MTs can be the difference in this top division.
Yep, even just a couple of those handful of wall hits on the last lap from Jaden probably cost him that race too. So, but good. If that's any indication of the rest of the match, this is going to be a cracker, I reckon.
Zoki does get the next pick, and he is going to take us to Sherbet Land. I'm just going to count the guys down now, and Dossie, tell us a little bit about Sherbet Land.
So Sherbet Land is a glacier-based track. There's plenty of penguins. They're probably the main obstacle to look out for here on the NTSC. They'll be slightly out of their usual cycle on PAL. So a penguin hit will probably cost you about 2 seconds, maybe 3, depending on how bad the hit is. They're all on cycles as well, so they're gonna be knowing what the cycles are for the penguins usually. But hitting one's obviously going to throw your cycle way out of sync. And then the other main obstacle, the major one that'll cost you a race for sure, is falling in the water, which will freeze you, and then you'll return back onto the track as a block of ice and have to thaw out and continue on. So, which, do not surprise, you still see a lot of high-ranked players still go for a swim in the ice, that's for sure.
Yeah, we'll see how risky these guys do take these crack jumps, as falling in the water is very time-consuming. And as cute as these penguins are, they're definitely very time-consuming as well if you do, unfortunately, hit one.
Yep. So nice, and they're pretty aggressive still, so that's good to see. They're pretty well synced up too. This is the usual shroom spot in this cave here. Jaden just hitting the wall there, cancelling out part of his shroom, so he might just have a slight lead on him now.
And he does. He's got roughly about a 0.13 lead, but nothing in it at the moment.
Yep, 0.13. That's just one missed mini turbo, and then the other guy's straight back into it. So. Far better shroom there by Jaden, so...
Yeah, I think he's gained a little bit here. This will be very close coming to this third lap. Will be very close.
Pretty safe crack jump there.
Oh, he has. Yeah. Wow, he's gained about... I think Jaden's ahead by about 0.13 himself now.
Yeah. So it's always good to get picks off your opponent, because they're obviously picking the tracks that they feel most confident in. So Zoki taking Jaden's first pick, and then and Jaden hits. That's really unfortunate. Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, that is unlucky. He was just creating a bit of a lead there as well, and yeah, that penguin just right in the middle. It's unfortunate there for Jaden, and Zoki does take it with a very consistent race, 138. 68, and Jaden with that mistake, 140.27.
Yep. But yeah, coming into that cave, I'd say Jaden just had him on the lead there. So. And Jaden, just saying he didn't quite know the cycle properly. Yeah, right in his way, right in his path. I was looking at Jaden's stream, so I didn't see how Zoki handled the penguin, but he obviously got through clean. So he may have known the cycle a little bit better, or just maybe had a slightly safer stream, because Jaden, yeah, was unavoidable there. Okay, off to Moomoo Farm we go. Rox, do you want to give him a brief description on Moomoo Farm?
Yeah, Moomoo Farm, not most players' most favourite tracks, and for one of two reasons, one of which the ground is very, very uneven. To make getting some clean mini turbos quite difficult if you do find yourself off some of that uneven ground. And probably the most common reason most people tend to stay away from Moomoo Farm where they can are these moles, which are completely RNG in the game. Most obstacles within Mario Kart 64 are on cycles, but one of the few things that aren't are these moles. So if you do have to go risky, which is the fastest route for this particular track, you just go over large patches of moles. It is the fastest, but it also is very much the riskiest, as you do run the risk of hitting one of these moles, and I think roughly around 2 to 3 seconds per mole hit, depending on where you actually hit the mole. So we'll see how safe these guys go, or how risky they decide to go.
Generally, Div 1 players usually they've got their own paths through the moles, so I wouldn't surprise me if they do go through them. Jaden going around and Zoki both going around, so. But the next patch coming up, the larger patches, has a lot of moles, so I imagine they'll probably go through that one the usual way. Yep, Jaden does, so does Zoki.
Oh, Jaden very close to that mole, but he does avoid it, so just ahead here by about 0.4.
Yeah, just slightly more aggressive lines by Jaden there too, so gets the early lead on Zoki. You'll see a lot of uneven ground in this track too. It's quite annoying, missing lots of MTs. Yeah.
Okay, Jaden taking a little bit of a safer line there, and Zoki has definitely caught up because of that. I think we've probably got Jaden about 0.1 ahead going into this third lap, so nothing in it at the moment.
Yep. So it'll probably come down to how aggressive each player comes. Jaden looks like he's pulling ahead slightly. Yep, he's taking better lines, better shroom. Yep, I'd say he's got this one, no problem.
Yeah, really solid third lap there from Jaden, 24.46 on the third. And we are seeing flashing numbers there for Zoki, but that's definitely not a PR. I think he might have refreshed his times on his NTSC console.
Yep.
And Jaden takes it with a 1:14.31 to Zoki's 1:14.77.
Yeah.
Very nice race from both players.
It's very, very consistent. Yeah, Jaden, as I said, just taking the slightly more aggressive lines through the moles. Zoki was a little bit wide on his shroom, so yeah, well done to him. Gets himself on the board.
Alrighty, so we've got Zoki leading Jay in the first set, 2 tracks to 1. And the track selection will go back to Zoki for the 4th track of the first set.
Just waiting on his selection now.
So you will also see SC and Flap next to the track points for each player. So these stand for Fast Lap and also Shortcut. So each player does get one of these per match. We get to see them be played, but I'm not sure how comfortable these guys will be with Shortcut on NTSC, but we'll see how they go selecting this a little bit later in the match.
Yeah, and they generally do come out later in the match in a third set, just as a roughie to try and get yourself back into a set maybe, or
okay, next track selection. Next track selection here, Royal Raceway from Zoki. And Josh, tell us a bit about Royal Raceway. What should the players be expecting here or looking out for?
So obviously avoiding, for those who do play, avoiding the grass is a big thing, except for when you're shrooming across it. That can cost you a little bit, especially in these Div 1 matches. Little mistakes like touching grass or sand is huge. There is a hairpin jump in the first couple of 20 odd seconds, probably a bit less. That is probably one of the bigger ones in this track, trying to get a nice clean hairpin jump, as much air as possible. What else? We've got the little zip pads on the large ramp. So they give you a slight speed boost, and they'll do little mini turbos on those as well. So what else, Rox? I'm sure I'm missing plenty since you're the far better player.
Mate, I think that's a pretty good evaluation. Couldn't have said it better myself. And as you touched on the hairpin, the guys are just coming up to now, which can definitely save or gain quite a bit of time. We see both players with relatively good hairpins. Maybe Jaden's slightly better hairpin from what I saw.
Yep, I would agree, yeah. And then this shroom here, this is the main shroom spot. Expecting either of them not to hit the wall, which they don't, so that's probably the biggest time loss if you do get caught on that wall. So
both players going for this double MT after the ramp here, and coming into the last turn of the first lap.
Jaden just getting the MT re-entering the track, and Zoki didn't, so he'll probably get a slight little boost on Zoki for that point.
Yeah, we saw Jay come in with a 48 flat, and I think Zoki was a 48.68, so he's opened up just over half a second lead here.
Yeah, and it's the Royal Raceway is the third or fourth longest track. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, about a minute, 50 seconds per lap on NTSC. So generally Royal Raceway favours the higher ranked player. But NTSC is going to avoid that a little bit, so
we'll see Zoki just getting stuck to the grass there, not quite getting air at the end, and he has fallen probably another 0.3 roughly behind, I think it was. So
yeah,
Jay probably just over a second ahead here, or just under a second, sorry.
Yep. Nice shroom by Jay, nice shroom by Zoki. So it's probably going to be a fairly disastrous mistake for Jay to lose it from here, I would think.
Yeah.
Not much can go wrong. Maybe when he re-enters the track, just hitting the water, getting caught in the water, that's probably a it, but
yeah,
doesn't do that. So, and he'll take this one.
And he does take it with a 224.10. to 225.73 on Zoki's side. So that will lock us up at 2-all in the first set. Great driving there from Jaden. And
Jaden getting an NTSC PR. So
wow,
that's really good. Yeah,
very nice for a one try. Awesome job.
Should just see how much different that is to his PAL time. .2370 is Jaden's PAL, so 0.4 off his. That's still pretty impressive. 0.4 off his PAL personal best. So
yeah, for a one try, that's insane. Really good, really strong driving.
Yeah, not much Zoki could have done about that one. That's for sure. That's just too good.
Okay, we have Troopa Beach as the next track selection. Troopa Beach, the cave probably being the main obstacle here. We'll see if the guys go for a mini turbo off the ramp into this cave. Missing the cave can definitely cause you to lose the run, so both guys are going to want to be getting in here pretty clean. And KTB, the crabs as well. The crabs are actually RNG in this game as well. One of the other few things in Mario Kart 64 which are RNG. So they kind of scurry left and they scurry right. So the guys will be doing their best to avoid the crabs on the sand there as well, coming through to the finish line.
It'll be interesting to see, because we'll be referring back to PAL a fair bit, or at least I will be anyway, but They usually do a mini turbo going into the cave entry. We'd be interested to see whether they do that on NTSC or just play it a bit more safe. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that will be interesting. A lot riskier. Well, risky even on power, but on NTSC in a one try. We'll see how brave these guys are, how confident these guys are with this ramp MT, because missing that cave can definitely cost you the run. So.
Jaden just getting a little bit crossed up with his MT there, so Jay does go for it, and so does Zoki, but Jay misses, but he gets the quick backup, so not the worst thing in the world, but probably going to be a couple of seconds behind early days, 27.
Yeah, he will need a mistake now from Zoki, so that's the risk that we were just talking about there, going for that ramp MT.
Yep.
Does save probably 0.2 if you hit them clean, or maybe 0.15, but if you do miss, it definitely sets you back. So not sure if Zoki's watching the restream or not, but Jaden will need a mistake from him here.
Jaden also getting up on the ramp at the start of the second lap, and Jaden hitting a crab, so pretty close to game over, or match over. Well, sorry, not match, just this game over. But unless Zoki misses the cave, which he does not.
He did come very close though to the left-hand side of the wall. Really good driving from Zoki. He's gonna come home pretty clean for a one try. Not a bad race at all.
Yeah. Zoki just smashing out PRs on his reset console. So Zoran's PR in PAL is a 1:19.60, so he's quite a long way off. Quite a long way away from his actual PR, but you see that in one tries, they're not quite as close as their actual PRs. Although you do see some people every now and again in the lower divisions, getting a PR, but you definitely wouldn't see that in these high standard games.
Does this actually put Zoki on set point here? So this is a really important pick. It is Zoki's pick as well. So it'll be really interesting to see what he selects here. Okay, and he's actually going to take us to quite a high variance track in the form of Bowser's Castle. Number of things they should be looking out for in Bowser's Castle. Dossie, tell us a bit about Bowser's Castle.
So another very high cycle-based track. You'll see the thwomps sliding around in some of the rooms from side to side, and a couple going up and down. They're your major obstacles. They're on cycles, so depending on what pace these guys are on and how familiar they are with their NTSC pace, is probably going to be the major factor in this race. So I'm probably going to say yes that someone's going to hit a thwomp. Cost them about two or so seconds. So that's probably, and then there is a small bridge in a room that if you fall off, you'll fall into the lava and cost you 7 seconds. But that's probably the major parts to this track. Very tight, very technical track. A lot of the corners are square corners. They're not rounded like you'd probably see in a lot of other tracks. It's really hard to cut very tight around some of these corners. So it'll be very interesting to see how they go here.
Alrighty, and they're off. Shrooms across the grass for both players. The optimal shroom strat. Coming into the first room of thwomps. And Jaden through clean. Zoki also through clean.
Yep.
So good driving. They're through the second room as well.
Yeah, it'll probably be lap 3, I imagine. It's probably the thwomp cycles that are giving the most headaches, maybe. I think they'll be fine for the first 2 laps. And that roundabout section there, that can also be a bit of a pain. Sometimes you'll get a good bump and get a good clean section, and other times you'll get you just get trolled by the wall and lose all your speed. So Jaden getting through, no worries. Same as Zoki. I didn't catch what their times were, Rox. Would you know who's in the lead here?
Mate, I actually missed it as well, but it does look like Jaden may be slightly ahead from what I can see on the clock. Both players haven't made any major mistakes.
Yep.
So they're still within their cycles that they're probably familiar with, which is a good thing going into this third lap for both players.
Yep. 37. So Jaden's ahead on that second lap, so I imagine he's probably got a little lead, maybe less than half a second overall. And Jaden hits, there it is. So does Zoki. Oh, yep.
Wow. And Jaden does just miss the thwomp in the second room as well. It's hard to probably tell who lost more time there, but I think Zoki getting pushed to the left there might have lost a little bit more time there than Jaden.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that was just the pace that they're not used to. I imagine on Pal they would have had that no worries, but yeah, Jaden going to bring us back to 3-all now.
Yeah, and that mistake there from Zoki did cost him. Very unlucky there for Zoki. He made a very similar mistake to Jaden, but for Zoki, just getting pushed left there and not being able to get past that wall just cost him that extra second or two, and Jaden just come away with the win.
Yeah, so very consistent first two laps by Jaden there, 37.50 and 37.50. So yeah, he was quite a way ahead compared to him. So it was going to take a fair mistake like what they did, but Zoki hit the exact same one anyway, so it didn't really matter.
We're all locked up. It's 3-all in the first set. We're expecting a close race, and that's exactly what we're getting so far. And it's Jaden's pick, so this actually puts both players now on set point. Alrighty, and Jaden has decided to take us to Choco Mountain.
Yeah, so Choco, very good one-try pick track. It is a very low variance track. There's not much that can really go wrong in terms of cycles or things getting in your way, except for a couple of falling boulders. But getting stuck in the walls, if you clip the wall just a fraction too much, you'll clip into the wall slightly and lose all your speed. So there's a fair few sections that are really tight. You need to get pretty close, and it'll be interesting to see whether they do indeed clip into some of these walls. So
yeah, getting caught in these walls is probably the main risk around Choco Mountain. These boulders on cycles probably shouldn't cause the players too much troubles unless they're very unlucky. They're just going a little bit too risky. They're going to want to stay as close to these walls as possible, but if they do go too close, Dos, like you just pointed out, mate, they can definitely get caught in the walls, which can sometimes even bring your cart down to a complete stop.
Yeah, or just shoot you in a completely random direction. That's, definitely another thing. So you're just a little tighter, both shrooming in the same spot.
So these hills at the end here, we see Zoki getting good hills where you do go over them opposed to going into the hills. You actually go directly over them. So Zoki will save a little bit there.
Yeah, definitely something to keep an eye out. Anyone who's familiar with BMX or motocross, you want to ride that hill as clean as possible. If you hit the hill at the wrong angle, it'll just bounce you back and you'll lose a ton of speed. So we saw Zoki getting clean hills and Jaden didn't, but Jaden getting good hills there, same with Zoki, so that's very nice.
Yeah, and about a half a second Jaden did open up there on that second lap, so it'd probably be fair to say Jaden's slightly ahead, but anything could still happen coming into this third lap as we come around towards the tail end of the race now.
No boulders in the way, that's a good thing for both. I'd say Jaden's definitely ahead. Zoki's hitting the rail there a little bit, so I'd say Jaden's the lose from here on in.
Ooh,
Gets bad hills, so does Zoki, but takes it out, no problem.
Yeah, so that's the track and also the set to Jaden. He did win the last two tracks to snatch the first set. So really good driving there from Jaden and very close there from Zoki. But Bowser's Castle really could have gone either way there. So Jaden just a little bit cleaner here on Choco Mountain and he's going to secure the first set.
Yep, well done, Jaden. So coming back from, I believe he was, what was he, 2-0, 3? No, I can't remember what the score was, but he was down in the set early on. I think it was 2-0 down, so he must have won the last 4 races, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think they were 2-2, weren't they? They were 2-2, so I think, yeah, he did. I think Jayden actually did win the last 2 races there to come back. Zoki was up 3-2, so he did play very well, kind of coming into that end of that set. And Zoki will get the first track selection, and he's going to take us to one of Mario Kart all-time favorites in the form of Yoshi Valley. Yoshi Valley, always an interesting track, mainly because of these spinies, which are on one of the routes, which is the fastest route. There's many different pathways, many different roads that players can take on Yoshi Valley, but the fastest track is going through these sets of spinies, which slide back and forth. They are on cycles, but that doesn't make it any more easy, particularly coming into the 3rd lap.
Yeah. And again, being on NTSC, their cycles aren't going to be quite the same as their PAL pace. Jayden, getting stuck in the wall, and so does Zoki as well, actually. Zoki got the far worst catch in the wall. We're just talking about Chocolate Mountain getting caught in the wall. Yoshi Valley also has that 1 or 2 places it does the exact same thing. So their cycles for the spinies are going to be way off now, so I'm interested to see which path they take, whether they go the faster route or the safe route. Jayden go on the safe route, and Zoki go on the more risky. And he misses.
Yeah, and he does catch a spiny, so we'll slow him down a little bit. We will see both players going for this hairpin jump as well. Oh, and Jayden just going for that hairpin does fall off the cliff, so that is a huge mistake.
Yeah. And he's going to have to go all the way around just due to how he's been placed back onto the track as well. So Zoki's watching the restream. He'll probably nearly take the safe path, and he gets caught on the fence. No, and he goes the riskier way too.
He's gone risky. He's got through the first set, so he does get through the second set. So yeah, really nice driving in the end there from Zoki. He just needs to get over this hairpin safely. Yeah, and he does.
Oh, he clipped through the fence there, Zoki. That was that was Monka as. Oh, I can't believe that. He'd be wiping the sweat off his brow on that one for sure.
Yeah, wow, interesting race. A few mistakes there from both players, but the biggest one there from Jayden, which did cost him the track in the end. Zoki coming in with a 134.18 to Jayden's 144.23. So went risky as Zoki, but it did pay off.
Yeah, and just unfortunate for Jayden. He probably would have taken that if he didn't fall off the hairpin jump. So, very unfortunate for him. So you do see...
And it is Jayden's pick.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dos.
Sorry, just someone in the chat asking about how did he clip through the fence. You do see clips through fences and stuff like that on Mario Kart. It's quite a broken game. No surprises that you get the odd clip through the fence here and there. Yeah, there's a couple of other places you can clip through walls just with the hitboxes and getting the right angles. So.
So Mario Raceway, the next track selection.
Yeah, Mario Raceway, very fast-paced track. It'll be over before you know it, so we'll try and describe it as quickly as I can. So the major thing to look out for is the mushroom cut, probably halfway through the track. Clean mushroom, or whether they decided to go around the mushroom. We'll be interested to see whether they do that. These players are very much good enough to go through doing the mushroom cut. Excuse me. Very risky, but high reward as well.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if we see either player go safe here. I'd say they're both going to go for the mushroom cut.
And
they do. And Jaden does make a mistake that is going to cost him.
Yeah.
It's unlucky. That the piranha plant at the mushroom cut can kind of push you left or right. Right being the worst of the two, as you do get caught within that wall, as we just saw there from Jaden, unfortunately.
Yeah. And Zoki, because the track is so fast, Zoki won't see Jaden's restream straight away, so he does go for it again and gets it, so that's a good thing. But he'll probably nearly go safe on the third lap, depending on whether he's watching.
Yeah, so other than the mushroom cut, I think the only other major mistake we might see, but probably not from this caliber of player, but it would be when they use their mushroom, actually going too far to the left and actually getting caught on the wall. Can happen in a one try, but other than the mushroom cut, that's probably the only other mistake. Zoki does get through relatively clean again. It will be enough for him to take this track if he gets this shroom clean, and he does.
Yeah, Jay just getting trolled by the mushroom, the piranha plant there. So, and that's just the skill of Zoki. They are very close in the ranks, but the difference in PRs and things like that are quite significant. I think Zoki's 4th and Jaden's 10th or 11th now. So, you might not think that's much in Mario Kart, but between 4th and say 10th is quite a difference in playing in their caliber. But Jaden definitely holding his own, doing a very good job here. So.
Yeah, I think Jaden's 12th now. He was in the top 10 a couple of weeks ago. It's very competitive. A lot of really solid players around that ranking. Yeah. Both players, absolutely incredible players, and particularly Zoki being in that top 4. So Jaden is down in the second set 2-0, but we did see what happened in the last set where Jaden came back very quickly. So definitely not writing anybody off in this set just yet, but it is Zoki's pick coming into this third track selection.
Yeah. So just getting confirmation from Matthias in the chat that Zoki doesn't watch the restream. So that's probably why you saw him go for the mushroom cut each time. Other players might watch the restream and probably would have taken the safer route around the outside just to eliminate any risk whatsoever. But did pretty well as expected for Zoki to pull off 3 mushroom cuts there. Chicken feed for Zoki for sure.
Alrighty, so a track that I've been playing a little bit myself lately, DKJP. One of the more technical tracks in Mario Kart 64, mainly due to this ramp jump. You do want to go as far left as possible on the ramp jump, but obviously not too far, because if you do go too far, you end up clipping the wall, then falling directly into the water. And also the cave climb towards the back end of each lap is absolutely key as well. You see the guys mashing R and hopping precisely at the right moment, getting to the top of the cave and triple tapping A. Triple tapping A does make the kart move faster from a stop stand position.
And you do see the coconuts, every time they go onto the grass, they have little coconuts that try and belt into your kart to get you back onto the track. You'll see a fair amount of those just because of this major grass cut right here. They are intended. But can be quite annoying if you don't quite get a good enough grass cut. You get that third or even 4th bonk if you're not quite fast enough. Can very much slow you down a lot.
Okay, Jaden opening up roughly around a 0.8 lead. So really solid first lap there from Jaden. This next jump will be really important.
Yep, Jaden getting a far more aggressive jump there to Zoki's. He was quite far to the right compared to Jaden. I like to gauge the jump. You'll see a black tree in the background. If you get to the left-hand side of that, that's about where the limit of your jump can be for most players. So you'll see it on this next lap, guys. Yeah, if they're too far left, then they'll definitely land in the river.
All right, so this last jump will be really important here for Jaden to hold his lead. He is going to land safely, and so will Zoki. Jaden's jump probably a little bit more aggressive than Zoki's again, so assuming he does finish this lap clean, he should be able to take this track.
Yep, definitely. Probably the only major thing here is going to be the cave exit, just tapping up the side of that mountain, and Zoki going absolutely wayward right there, so... I missed what happened to Zoki, but I assume he just got a bit crossed up and just went straight into the grass. So, and getting confirmation that's another NTSC PR for Jaden. So GG to him. That's very impressive.
Incredible driving. Well done. Any kind of PR, whether that be NTSC or PAL in a one try, is absolutely insane. So big props to Jaden.
So about a second off his PAL PR, so not as good as his PAL PR, quite a far way away from it, but very impressive to get the NTSC PR.
And it's Jaden's pick. We have a very interesting one. We're going to see our first Joker of the match being selected now. We are going to Calamari Desert Flap, so it's going to be a first lap Flap Joker. The mushrooms will be absolutely key here. We'll see them probably use it on the first bend, and then a double shroom on the last large bend of the race, just after the railway tracks. So train should be out of the way for a first lap Joker, so that shouldn't cause the players any problems.
Yeah, you usually see the train being a pain on lap 2 and 3. So yeah, definitely won't have any hiccups with the train here, that's for sure. Probably the most major part of this is going to be the first cut, that first mushroom cut, how tight they decide to go to the mountain on the left-hand side. If they get a slight hit on that, it will cancel their shroom and that will completely slow them down. So that's going to be the major thing to watch out for on this one.
Oh no, poor Zoki. Poor Zoki does crash into the wall there on his first shroom.
So it's probably Jaden's to lose from here. There's not really much unless he crashes into the fence here, but pretty easy one for him there, yeah. He'll take this one fairly comfortably. And that's all it was, just that one touch at the beginning on the wall, on the mountain, and cost Zoki a lot of time. So nearly 3 seconds in the end.
Yeah, smart pick there from Jaden. Whether he's been playing that a little bit lately, he might be a little bit more practice there. That was his track selection for his Joker. So that will take us to 2-all in the second set. We are all locked up once again. The next track selection of the match is from Zoki, and we are going to Frap Snowland. Gossi, tell us about Frap Snowland.
So this is the second it's the snow one. Sherbet Land's the glacier track, but as it implies, it's a snowland. There's a few scattered snowmen around the track. There's one large grouping and a couple here and there, but they do explode for some reason. Nobody actually knows why. But yeah, that's probably not going to be that big of an issue. The main issue here on this track is going to be the mushroom cut across the snow. So they'll mushroom up a little hill, jump in the air, and try and navigate between two snowmen. So that's probably the main thing we're going to be looking out for here. Touching the snow will slow you down just marginally, so obviously they don't want to be touching the snow too much in this track. And there is a very rare little clip into the bridge that they can get, but I highly doubt that that's going to happen in this. So They do a little. Jaden does a little A/B spin at the start. It's slightly faster if you can actually nail it. Zoki not going for it, so we'll see if that pays dividends for him.
And here they come through to their first room, and we see Jaden a little bit wide there. He's having some problems, and he is out of bounds. That is unlucky.
Yeah. So that was the major mistake. Zoki getting very close to the snowman actually on his re-entry to the track. So, but navigating it enough not to hit it. It wouldn't have cost as much as Jaden getting out of bounds, but would have been about a couple of seconds on penalty there for him. So whether Zoki can hold on for a couple of, should most likely hold on for a couple, but he doesn't.
Oh.
He actually clips out of bounds to himself, so, and he gets placed in front of the snowman, same as Jaden. Uses his extra stream and he gets caught again. Yeah.
Oh no,
And
he's opted out.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, sorry, go Rox.
Sorry, man. I was just going to say, yeah, like Matthias said in the chat, he probably wasn't watching the stream because he was still, even after that second out of bounds, he was still very much in that race.
Yeah, but did use his second shroom, his last shroom right away, so he wouldn't have had a shroom for the third lap. So pausing in a one try is an automatic disqualification. So yeah, Jaden wins this regardless. Yeah, as long as he just finishes it out, he can probably take 10 minutes if he really wants to, but he just has to finish it out. So. Pretty unfortunate, but I would, yeah, that extra one definitely wouldn't have been ideal, and probably would have lost him the match anyway. So, Matthias saying, "I will never understand quitters." Sometimes you never know, Matthias. You never know.
Zoki just saying that's his first did not finish. It was that bad, so. He's a very good player, Zoki, so I feel for him there. A couple of mistakes. Fraps Nolan can be a brutal track.
Which I believe we saw that somebody in a Div 1 match, might have been Dan, he, in the DKJP, paused at the start on the first lap, and then decided to continue finishing the lap, and then his opponent actually fell in the water twice, and he would have won the match. So, would have won the track. So, yeah, you never know. You always just finish them out, and you might nearly just get lucky. But yeah.
Hey, so that does put Jaden on his second set point of the match, and it is his track selection, and he has decided to take us to Luigi Raceway. Interesting pick from Jaden. Not too much variance on Luigi Raceway. So generally picked by the higher ranked player, which in this match is actually Zoki. But Jaden obviously backing his NTSC skills here for Luigi Raceway. You'll see the guys doing straight stretch mini turbos and also trying to stay as close to these corners as possible.
Yeah, I'd say coming into this match, Jaden's probably had a lot more practice, so they're probably about even, which you can actually see in the score line so far. They're quite even players. Yeah, I'd say Jaden's just got a bit more practice on Zoki. I'm not sure whether Zoki plays much anymore, but I think he's more into the shortcut stuff lately compared to Jaden.
So there is also a mystery boost we might see the players go for here. Well, I'd say we'll definitely see them go for it. Whether they'll get it, we'll find out very shortly. They'll use their shroom, release the MT, and try to bonk the front of their cart on this wall. Jaden, I think, successfully did get it. Yeah.
Hard to tell with Zoki because he doesn't have his speedometer up, but Jaden just taking a 0.13 lead just at the moment, so Zoki getting the sand. That's probably one of the more major things here. Sand hits and whether you hit the wall with your shroom as well, that's probably the other major things here to look out for. So, but in a one try like this, hitting the sand is definitely big for these kind of players.
Yeah, a couple of missed MTs there from Zoki just before those second shrooms as well. So I think we see Jaden ahead here by maybe half a second.
Yep. Oh, Jaden way wide there. Might bring Zoki slightly back, but I think he's too far ahead now. Yeah, by a little bit. Still a pretty comfortable win on Luigi Raceway, I would say. So Jaden again going from 2 love down to winning the set. Yeah, quite impressive. Zoki's taken the early lead on each set and hasn't been able to quite capitalise on that early start.
So all tracks now do reset. After 2 sets, all tracks reset, and we are going to see a pick here from Zoki taking us back to Sherbet Land. So we did get the win here on the first set. Jaden did make a mistake on the 3rd lap, running into that penguin. So Zoki feeling confident here to selecting this one?
However, we have seen many times in one tries players picking the track they won in the first couple of sets and undoes them quite often. It's a bit of confidence. So definitely done it many times in my one tries. I've picked the track that I've won in the first set against a player, and I've ended up losing it in the 3rd. So definitely not a sure thing. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, completely agree. Done it many times myself as well. And I think, Jaden probably even slightly ahead before that mistake as well. So
yeah, which Zoki wouldn't be aware of that. So yeah.
Yeah, so it is an interesting pick here from Zoki, but it was a very close first race.
Yeah. Oh, it's over. Yeah.
It's Jaden's favourite line when it comes to Sherbet Land. It's over. He's saying that in his mind right now. He does spin out there as well when he gets dropped by Lakitu.
Yeah. Jaden we're good friends with Jaden, and he will laugh when he watches the restream on this. So yeah, quite a one-liner from him. So it's probably Zoki's to lose. Whether he'll have to land in the water. Jaden not getting the fast start either when he re-entered the track, so he'll probably still have an advantage on him anyway, slightly, if he does go in the water. So
yeah, clean shroom there from Zoki in the second, coming out of the cave now. Does miss an MT, but it's not going to cause him any dramas unless he makes any major mistakes.
So I have a feeling that penguin's going to be in the exact same place for Jaden. They are on about 8 second. I think it's about 8 second cycles, these penguins, and the water costs you about 7, and he falls in anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's decided to go for another swim. Probably a Sherbet Land Jaden will love to forget after this particular race. And We'll see Zoki, barring any major mistakes here on this last crack jump, he'll come home pretty comfortably for the win.
So I don't think that race wasn't quite as good as Zoki's first attempt at the track. So Jaden just doing a bit of swag racing here. Just for a bit of entertainment.
Jaden just saying, Breaking Rocks just read my mind in regards to him saying it's over.
Yeah, I have no doubt he definitely would have said that.
Alrighty,
again,
so Smarky's pick.
Zoki again taking the first track of the set.
Yeah, smart pick there from Zoki. Quite a high variance track. Sherbet Land when it comes to these crack jumps and also these penguins. So he does take the first track win. And we are going to be heading to a track we have not played yet in the match in the form of Banshee Boardwalk, one of the spookier tracks in Mario Kart 64. And again, quite a technical one as well.
And I'm just swapping up the audios. We'll just go to Jaden's game audio just for this set. We've been listening to Peach the whole time. Japanese Peach does sound a little bit odd compared to the non-Japanese version of Peach. So Yoshi's voice a little more soothing.
Yeah, we will see. You'll notice as well, guys, all the people that play in these competitions, the One Try League, will either be selecting Peach, Toad, or Yoshi. They are the three fastest players in the game. Alrighty, so early MT miss there, I think from Jaden, was hard to see. Oh, and this zigzag can cause players some troubles, but they do both get through clean. Zoki does clip the fence there on his first shroom. That's unfortunate. Oh, and he is into the wall, so that's a very large time loss there for Zoki.
You just hear the audio flipping over now.
Yep, we've got Jaden's audio now. Cool.
And he falls in. Oh, no, that's major. That is a major mistake.
Okay, so this is very interesting now because we saw Zoki make a really big mistake in the first lap, and now we've seen Jaden do the same in the second. So they're pretty much neck and neck again here.
But Zoki having the advantage of an extra shroom, so...
Yeah.
Jaden's not using it now, so Zoki just pulls ahead slightly. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting finishing now for sure.
Does bonk the fence there, just coming around the last turn. Zoki's naturally after that mistake made up a lot of time. And you'd have to say we're pretty neck and neck. You can't pick it at this point. Both players still with one shroom remaining.
Yeah, Jaden going for the extra MT to try and get that time back. I'd say he's just in the lead now. I think their sync was pretty good at the start of the race, start of the track. He's pulling away, so I think Jaden's still going to hang on slightly. Yeah, ooh, he misses that MT, but don't know if it'll matter.
Oh, that's very close.
Wow.
152.31, 152.54. Jaden clutches it by about 0.23.
Yeah, that's a big play in this set. Jaden coming back from that. So as you can see, Zoki's first lap was a 41. Jaden's second lap was a 42. So Jaden just driving a little bit cleaner throughout the other two laps, which saved him with a 0.2.
All right, so Zoki sticking with the high variance track theme, and he's taking us back to Yoshi Valley, where he did have a win in the last race on this track.
Yeah, definitely. I agree, Matthias. It's very good to see them synced really well. Definitely makes for a more interesting game. That's for sure. Especially when it comes to big mistakes and then they're neck and neck for the last lap or something like that. But yeah, do they go safe rocks? Do they go the safe path, or do they go the far riskier but high reward track?
Yeah. Look, I think if you're Zoki, similar to what he did in the last race, I think you've got to go risky again. He does need to win some tracks to take out this set.
Yep.
Jaden, he's 2 sets up. He might go a little bit more conservative, but if he does, naturally he will run the risk of Zoki getting through clean. So Yeah, I mean, if I'm both players, I'm probably going risky on laps 1 and 2, and
Yep.
depending how clean I guess my laps 1 and 2 were, would probably determine if I went risky on the third as well.
Yeah. So it was unfortunate in the first race, Zoki clipping the fence when he had that advantage. So definitely won't do that again this time, I don't think. Jayden falls again. That's the exact same mistake that he made. And Zoki
Zoki's
also
up as
falls.
well.
Zoki's got the advantage of actually falling later, so he's definitely going to have probably about a 4 or 5 second advantage here now. Probably being that little bit faster on NTSC, Jayden just not quite getting the jump in time. I didn't actually see what happened with Zoki, so.
Okay, and Zoki spins out and he is off the
falls.
cliff.
And Jayden does the exact same thing.
Same spot.
You could just see that happening from a mile away.
So Zoki, because they did make the same mistake, Zoki's still holding on to roughly, I think, maybe a 2-second lead, give or take. Maybe 3 seconds.
Probably a fraction more. I still think 4, probably.
Yeah.
What's it, 13, 14, 15? Yeah, about 3 seconds, yeah. Zoki hits again. Does he go down? He does not, but Jayden taking the safe path. So Zoki will be ahead again. Gets over. I would say if Jayden nearly took and he gets crushed by the egg, that's unfortunate. I was going to say if Jayden happened to take the riskier track, he may have nearly been even with Zoki, but yeah, not to be with the egg crush anyway. Okay, so another good high variance win from Zoki there. I'm going to go back to Moomoo Farm again. So Jayden taking out Moomoo Farm reasonably comfortably last time, just had slightly better lines. I don't think there was a mole hit in the last one. So we definitely be watching out for mole hits at this time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's again probably a really smart pick here from actually no, sorry, it's Jayden's pick, isn't it?
Jayden's
this track.
Pick, yeah.
So yeah, so interesting pick. Again, another high variance one. We're seeing a lot of high variance here in this third set. So whether how aggressive they go on these shrooms will be really interesting.
And you generally see the higher variance picks from the lower ranked player, but probably just both of them being on NTSC, they're not as confident in they're both throwing out the higher variance tracks against each other. So sort of they're both picking the high variance tracks, yeah. Jayden just with a slight 1 second advantage in terms of the stream sync, and Zoki hits a mole straight up, so he's going to be quite a way behind. Jayden usually watches the restream, so I imagine if he has a clean section here, he's going to go fairly safe for the rest of it.
Yeah, I don't know what the delay is on the restream, but if Jayden's got it up, he might be aware that Zoki's hit that mole and go a little bit safer. Probably about a 2 second setback there hitting a mole, maybe 2 to 3 seconds.
Yeah. So I imagine Jayden will be watching Zoki's stream, not the actual restream of this match. So that's where he'll know. That's far more accurate with the time of it. So. Well.
Okay, so both players with a pretty clean second lap. Zoki's still trailing because of that mistake, so Zoki will need Jayden to make some kind of error here in a mole hit to finish if he is going to catch him. Oh, and he nearly does go over that molehill, but he does get through safely, and Zoki does clip another mole.
Yep. So again, Jaden just clawing his way back in this set. I'm going to switch it back to Zoki's because Jaden's track music is quite low. So I'll swap back to Zoki's because he's got nice loud track music. So back to 2-all.
Sticking with the high variance theme, we're going to be going to Bowser's Castle. It's Zoki's pick. So this track could have gone literally either way last time. We saw both players making very similar mistakes due to these thwomps. Actually, in the first room, the thwomps will track you. They kind of hover above you and they'll try to come down on you and crush you. Opposed to the second room where they're sliding back and forth from left to right. So normally the second room causes players the most problems, but it does come down to these cycles and the pace that the players will be on.
Okay. Okay.
So I think both of them, from memory, had a bit of a disastrous track here last time, so definitely want to make amends on it this time around. Don't get it through clean, so does Zoki. That's pretty easy for them. Probably come down to the next lap. Thwomps on all the next laps will be big telling points. Jaden just not quite getting as clean a spiral there as Zoki. Comes in with a 38.02 and 38.06, so 0.04 difference. And Zoki just hitting that tree and throws him off and he runs into a thwomp. He's going to throw his thwomp cycle completely out.
Yeah, we're seeing Jaden opting to go for the stairs MT as well, just across this bridge. Zoki opting for the safer option of the hop. After that mistake, Jaden definitely takes a pretty comfortable lead going into this third lap. He has a 37.98, Zoki with a 40.51. So roughly about a 3-second lead here due to that mistake from Zoki.
Jaden getting nice thwomps there. Zoki's not going to get him, and yeah, crushes him. Well, not crushes him, but gets in his way. And fine for the other room for Jaden, so he'll get to make amends on this track and take it back. Which, barring any major mistake, this is going to put Jaden on match point. And gets the W. Very nice run there from Jaden, very clean.
Okay, and Jaden has selected Warrior Stadium for what could potentially be the last track of the match, depending on the outcome here. So, again, at a very high, wouldn't say really high variance, but it's very highly technical, Warrior Stadium, and it is the second longest track of the game as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised this pick didn't come out a bit earlier, to be honest, rather than late in the match.
Select that. Okay. Okay.
So yeah, not much to look out for in this track. Probably just touching the walls and losing MT speed. Probably the major one. There is a shroom up a hill coming up shortly. That's probably the other major one. If you get a bad line and hit the side of the wall, yeah, it'll definitely throw your speed out. You'll come to a complete stop. So.
Yeah, you can definitely tumble on this track if you do have a bad shroom, or even jump a little bit off to the wrong angle on some of these jumps. But other than that, the guys will just be looking to stay as... Oh, and we just saw exactly that happen there with Zoki. That's really unlucky for him. Does tumble there on that shroom. But you'll see the guys trying to stay as close to the wall as possible with relatively fast MTs.
Yeah. And you saw Jaden earlier on just getting caught in the wall himself. Won't cost him too much time compared to Zoki's tumble. So yeah, Jaden will probably have about I'd say nearly a maybe 2 second advantage at the moment. And Jaden just hitting the wall there a little bit. See very shortly, Zoki also touching the wall. Yeah, so about that 2 second, not quite 2 second lead for Jaden there. So definitely costly, that mushroom.
Yeah, just under 2 second lead here for Jaden. It's a fair amount for Zoki to make up just with driving. So we're gonna, Zoki will definitely be hoping Jaden makes a mistake, maybe clips into the wall, gets snagged, or tumbles off one of these walls. Second shroom looks pretty clean. And we'll probably see both players here going for what's known as the flip-flop MT, which is the bit Jaden's is coming up to now. MTing and then swaying back to MT the other way.
Which Zoki actually didn't go for. So,
yeah, Zoki didn't go for it, so maybe not quite as comfortable, particularly on NTSC. That's probably fair. Jaden will hold on to this lead. Just come into the end of the second lap now.
So he's just going to slightly extend his lead again too. So comes in at about 27. Yeah, about a 30 for Zoki. So you're going to have to play absolutely out of his skin, Zoki, here to pull this one back. Jaden's going to have to make a pretty major mistake. Driving really well at the moment, so I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, really nice third shroom there from Jaden. Zoki also with a pretty clean third shroom, a little bit wider than Jaden's, but both players nice shrooms. Jaden knocked
up,
yeah, he didn't quite get that flip-flop clean, but he didn't tumble into the wall. Fortunate for him.
Little wall touch there from Jay. Not going to be enough. The last thing that's going to cost him the race is just getting caught on that wall right at the end coming up here, but just can't see it happening. Doesn't. So he's going to take the match. It'll be game, set, and match.
Okay, and really nice driving there from both players, but yeah, Jaden just too strong in this match. He will go 3 sets and take the match. I'll just see if the guys are wanting to do an interview or if they're happy to call it there. Alrighty, so both players opting no interview, having some technical difficulties on the mic there for Zoki, and Jaden are passing on the interview option. But some really exciting tracks there, guys, and 2 really high caliber players. So GG to both players. Congratulations to Jaden for the win.
Yeah, even though Jaden won 3-0, that was, what did we have? We had 4-3, 4-2, 4-2, I think.
Yeah, it was,
so
Dos. Yeah.
Pretty tight, yeah.
Yeah, particularly that third set, it really could have gone either way, and builds up a little bit of momentum. If Zoki would have got that first set, it would have panned out really interesting for the rest of the match. But look, some early leads there from Zoki, but just couldn't take advantage of those early set leads. And Jayden, just staying consistent, did come back strong, and in the end, definitely strong enough to get the win.
Yeah, for sure. So very impressive for Jay. Not sure who his next opponent would be. I assume he's probably got Dan and Matthias coming up. Or maybe he's already played Dan, I'm not actually sure. So can check pretty quickly though. Yeah.
Yeah, he played Dan, I think it would have been 3-4 weeks ago he played Dan. I think Dan got the win in that particular match. I'm not sure when the next Division 1 match is. So for anybody following or anybody new to this tournament, there's 3 divisions. Division 1 being the top-ranked players, and then Division 2 and Division 3. Division 2 has finished their tournament. However, Division 1 and also Division 3 are still playing matches and also heading into playoffs. So do definitely keep your eyes peeled, because there's some exciting matches to come. And particularly Division 1, it's going to be really interesting to see who can come out on top there. Of course, there's some really strong players in the form of Jayden, Matthias, and also Dan, probably the favourites. But we've seen many times in these kind of one-try tournaments that a couple of mistakes, momentum can definitely swing. So really be interesting to see how these playoffs pan out as well.
Yeah, so Division 1 matches coming up. So for Jayden and for Zoki, what do we have? Jayden and Vincent, which is cancelled. Vincent's just left the tournament for personal reasons. And Zoran has Luke next round, which they haven't scheduled a match for. But matches that are actually upcoming for other divisions, none of them are actually on SG, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, there will be future matches on SG if you guys are interested in watching them throughout. So
Cool. Well, I think we've lost our game audio, so really good match. I think maybe we'll call it there, Dos.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
A pleasure commentating with you, and made a big GG again to both players. Congratulations to Jayden. And if anybody's interested in learning more about the community, how they can get involved, do visit mariokart64.com.
Yep.
And yeah, thanks again. I'll catch you all next time. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Catch you guys.